Good morning and thanks for joining us on Off the Press. Since your apologies for starting a little behind schedule. It was due to circumstances beyond our control at the moment. But we're glad to be here with you to bring you up to speed quickly with all the latest headlines so you can go make sense of it. And I have with me two guests to make sense of it. Bernard Oniga, he's a lawyer. Thank you very much for coming in.
My pleasure.
And of course, social commentator Ezeji, Ekene Ezeji. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, let's run this through quickly. We have the Punch newspaper, and the big one here is one killed in South African fresh attack. FG begins evacuation. 400 Nigerians ready to return home. Hoodlums insist foreigners must go. Nigerians in detention for visa violations to be repatriated. We have some other headlines. Of course, we have the low-cost housing estate nursery and primary school in Lagos. And then we have politicians causing fearing religious crisis. Contemplated suicide after leaving office. That's SAGF Adoke. And on the back of the paper, we have the $26 billion diaspora remittances. Where are the dollars? That's Economic Renaissance by Henry Boyo. Let me start with you, Bernard. Quickly, your thoughts on this screamer here.
It's unfortunate. Of course, it has occupied almost 90% of the media and the news space in the past 1 week or so. But my only concern is that there seems to be no hope in sight. I was thinking by now we should be hearing news like the South African government has arrested, and we needed to see justice, the justice system in South Africa at its best. At this point in time, we are talking of lives and we are talking about properties, and it doesn't matter who you are, what language you speak or where you are from. Human life is sacrosanct and it ought to be respected in all circumstances, And so it's disheartening, and I think Cyril, the president of South Africa, needs to do better. This does not put South Africa in a good light and the African continent as a whole. And so I would say it's regrettable. About the evacuation, I hear a certain airline has offered the federal government, and it's commendable. I want to commend that airline, and their CEO for such an actions. And I want to say to Nigerians that, okay, we are here, so if this is your country, and like they say, there's no other place like home, regardless of where you go to, you have to come back. So if this is the time that life is calling you back home, come on, I want you to come back home. We would dig it out and we'll make this country better for ourselves.
Your thoughts quickly on the politicians causing feeling religious crisis by the Sultan.
Yes, I liked his speech when I read it, the bits I read of it. I think he's right. I think we've always suspected this, with the case to do with Cross River, where there was some, not Cross River, I think it's River State, where there's some. No, where they talked about Wike having destroyed a mosque, but obviously he denied it. So he's saying, look, don't let yourself be played. Which brings me to even the situation in South Africa. We all know that a lot of it are political elites playing the working class against themselves. So we need to sharpen up. We need to shine our eye and not let ourselves be played like this, because oftentimes the people who are holding power are holding it, and then they're letting you do the squabbling amongst yourselves for the crumbs. We need to wise up.
We'll move on to the Vanguard newspaper now. Again, xenophobia is here. Leave our country, armed South Africans order foreigners. Our lives are in danger, Nigerians. Those are some of it. And then you see the wood-carrying, weapon-carrying South Africans with sticks and cut gels during a protest in Johannesburg asking that African foreigners should leave. We also have something on insecurity. It is dangerous to negotiate with bandits. That's another one on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Boko Haram attacks military convoy, cuts away cash, arms and food. That's also on the front page of the Vanguard. Let's go to the top quickly. We have this one that says $9.6 billion judgment debt. FG to push for abrogation of huge cash award. How project failure affected Adas Petroleum's plan to end gas flaring in OML 123. That's investigation. I'd like to pick your brain quickly on this money.
Well, it's okay. The judgment debt, you mean, right?
Yes.
Okay, about P&ID?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Well, I was here in the studios sometimes ago when the news broke out, and one thing I said is that we cannot take this, our Nigerian approach to issues, to the international scene. There are a lot of conspiracy theories around the judgment debts. Some people, Bloomberg also did publish a very detailed investigative report as to all of this. But what I want to say to this this current administration is that I think sometimes the Attorney General came out to say, oh, that the judgment there was nothing like that, it was non-existent. The current government totally denied the existence of these proceedings.
But do you see this pushing for abrogation?
I laugh. I saw a protest by some Nigerians to the UK embassy, and I was laughing. I said, oh no, there's no need for a protest here. This is a court. There's something the Prime Minister can do. There's something the Queen can do. It's a judicial procedure, and it has to take its focus. And the law has to. Nigeria is a signatory to. The arbitration, there's a global arbitration agreement amongst nations, that says that, okay, if I contract in the international scene and I have liabilities, my assets also in the international scene can be used to satisfy those liabilities, And Nigeria is a signatory to it. We do not know the details of this contract, and I hope you know that, So there are a lot of things shared in secrecy. If a contract of such magnitude is being entered into, it ought to be in the news. There ought to be a fanfare around it, because we are solving a major problem, which is gas flaring, So if Nigeria is getting into a contract that says, oh, we are going to end gas flaring, something that we should hear in the news, people should be allowed to make their inputs and contribute and criticize. But that never happened, until it got into a stalemate whereby we almost have to lose that open sum, I don't know how far our Attorney General has gone. I do not admire his position as it is as regards the judgment. And I think right now he's not denying the reality of the judgment, because we have a lot at stake. So I want to just appeal to them again. We should not approach this with the usual Nigerian approach, where we take things for granted. We go about writing agreements with terms, and we do not understand in totality the extent of those terms when it comes to.
May I just add to that?
I know you want to say something, but we don't have much time, so we'll just move on to this day. And the screamer here is EFCC scales up investigation on P&ID, may look into payment of $39 million to IPCO, concern mounts over pattern of fraud. You see special report on governor's 100 days in the saddle. That's another one on the front page of this day newspaper. And then you have fresh facts emerge on ANCOM, Shiba, E&P legal tussle. There are two writers to that story. CBN federally collected revenue rises by 23% to 932 billion naira. That's also on the front page. And then we have this pictorial reportage here. Oshomole renews feud with Obaseki, insists Okiye not Edo speaker. Let me come to you, Ekene, with this one. Now you can speak.
Now, I was going to say, I'm going to ignore Oshomole and Obaseki. Let's not waste time on them.
Quickly.
Let's add a bit more to the P&ID debacle. Yeah. I want to just sort of deviate slightly from his position, because initially I started off like that, saying let's not do our jungle justice. But I want to say that, from the article, the Bloomberg article, which I read, it shows that the man in question, who is now dead, was essentially a serial scammer. So let's not assume we're in the wrong camp and we're so, it's our incompetence. Yes, we may not have appeared in court as we ought to and put up a robust case as we ought to, but make no mistake, we have a case to present. Let's not throw it all out. And I mean, when I look at the recent winnings against NNPC, against the oil people in America, it shows that yes, we can present a case.
Well, the EFCC, because the headline here now is EFCC scales up investigation on P&ID.
Yes.
Does that really matter at this point, in your opinion?
Yes, it does, because, for example, when I read the Bloomberg article, it showed that someone had taken the time to do some investigative journalism. And what they dug up showed you that we do have a case to present against, the P&ID people, because really, they didn't show that they had enough integrity on their side of the contract to even be asking for 9.6
So one would wonder why a court would, a court is supposed to do due diligence as well.
You mean the British courts?
What the evidence is.
Well, I will just quickly say this before you come in, very quickly, to say there might be, let's not put everything up, say the court is above reproach. They have, according to someone who made a commentary, if this amount is given to them, they will take in taxes a huge sum, the British government. So there is a financial incentive. I'm not accusing them of being influenced by that, but it's there.
That is not fair to say too, if you ask me. Now listen,
quickly, you have to do that.
Yeah, quickly. You see, we have a situation where
the reality on the ground.
In Nigeria, we have public contracts whereby people take personal benefits more than the larger society. So EFCC is investigating because there are certain categories of people who would have facilitated or represented the government in regards to this contract that would have taken certain personal benefits in respect to this contract. However, if this contract was duly signed by representatives of the Nigerian government,
yes,
it is a contract that can be adjudicated upon in a competent court of law.
But it wasn't duly signed.
It was duly signed.
No, they said the Minister of Petroleum.
No, that's the argument.
I think it was duly signed.
All right, let's move on because we really don't know. I wish I could allow you guys to go like this. All right, the Nation newspaper, we have another one here. 400 Nigerians to return as South Africans step up attacks. 1 killed, many injured in another anti-foreigners protest. Buhari's envoy, Ramaphosa, pledged peace. We also have Atiku versus Buhari's verdict likely Friday. Oshomole Obaseki wrong in the house, on Edo House. Rather, Oshomole Obaseki wrong on Edo House. I don't know what's wrong with my mouth this morning, but quickly, let's see this meeting. Buhari's envoy Ramaphosa pledges peace. Is this enough? Are the actions screaming that we really truly care about Nigerians and we're taking action? Or should we wait for that special speech by the president?
I like the way we're going now. Like I said earlier, I think we started slow, but we're beginning to pick up some momentum, and it helps that people have gone, unfortunately, and had to make an open protest. So I think anything done henceforth will reflect the people's concerns. So I think we're going in the right direction. That's generally where I'm coming from. All
right, let's see complete sports quickly. I know you wanted to say something, but we truly are.
No problem.
You could just speak quickly on the Oshomole Obaseki feud, if you wish.
I don't even want to talk about Oshomole Obaseki. I don't think it's too. I'd rather talk about the verdict coming on Friday.
Yes.
Okay,
it's a very important one. Okay, so we are all ears, we are waiting, and we have confidence in the tribunal, and we also believe that come Friday, of course, it could, either way it goes, it is still, democracy is making progress in our nation, and we are glad that we've come this far.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Complete sports. Somebody's a fan of Nadal. But it's not. I don't think it's captured here this morning.
It has to be captured somewhere.
That win. It could be somewhere, but the screamer here is Eagles begin training in Dean Pro or DNI Pro ahead of Tuesday's clash with Ukraine. I'm not sure how that is. I beg your pardon on that. We have Nigeria 86. 73 China, D Tigers secure 2020 Olympics ticket. Jubilant players hail Olympics sealing victory over China. We have Raul Target's revenge against Ukraine. Quickly, let's hear your thoughts. Let me start with Ekene.
Okay, let me try and quickly clear up. Well, congratulations to D Tigers. We're very happy with their performance. So congratulations, win for Nigeria. But Nadal versus
Nadal
versus Medvedev. I mean, you have to watch this game if you haven't watched it already. It takes you beyond tribe and country, because what you're seeing is heart on display. There's a lot of courage out there when you see games where someone is up against and is really on the edge, and they still play something very risky, like a serve and a volley. If you watch that kind of game, it does inspire you that you mustn't be put down by the odds that are stacked against you. You can still come out and be brave in the face of adversity.
Bernard, your thoughts?
Okay, the Tigers, I'm a Nigerian, so I'm very patriotic, So it's a good one, and we've seen this set of players, done us well in successive games, Somebody said something yesterday, which I might agree, that I think it's the individual spirit of the players that is getting us. This is not because there's anything fantastic being done by the government, But I still want to say, of course, that we owe ourselves personal success too. If society fails us, we have to go against all odds to succeed. And I love the spirit of this gentleman. They have done us well, and I wish them well as they go further in the Olympics. I think they'll make us proud in the Olympics, and I think we should all watch out for them.
Pinky fingers crossed. Right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming on the program this morning.
Our pleasure.
And of course, thank you for staying with us. Keep pressing. Success will certainly come. That's what they said just moments ago. It's been my pleasure hosting the show today. We'll see you again soon. Do take care of yourself and have a fantastic day.